Hello, students. In this video, we will learn about the implementation of association rule mining. So, what are all the various libraries that are needed, and what are all the different steps which is involved in generating the frequent item set and the association rule. So, the first and the foremost thing is like we import the pandas library mainly to deal with the data frame because our data set is in the form of a data frame. And then from ITER tools, we have to import combination. So ITER tool, this is a built-in module in Python that has numerous mathematical operation. So mainly it helps us to generate the possible subsets. And the next important thing is like loading the uh, data set, and we are making use of grocery data set, which comprises of the transactions, the items that are purchased by the different customers. So using PD and dot read underscore CSV, we read the input file which is in CSV file format. So on reading, so we return a list. Okay, so where each and every row is the set of transaction. Okay, so now our job is to convert each and every row into set of items. So for that only we are using this function. Okay, so first df dot iter rows, mainly it is used to iterate over each row of the data frame. And after that, this will return an index, right? Every row will have an index. So that index is not required. So underscore, it represents that index is ignored. And the row is a pandas series row. Okay, so, and if there are any null values using drop in a function, so we need to drop the missing values from the row. And finally, this returns a series with only a non-null values. So the set row dot drop NA will convert the series into set of unique items. So finally, we are able to get the list of unique items. Okay, this will create a list where each row is a set of non-null values. So now coming on to the process of this a priori algorithm. So we have to count the item frequency. So how many number of times an item that appears in the transaction. So for that, we are writing a function that is get underscore frequent underscore item set. So for this, in order to generate the, as per the theory, whatever you have learned, so we need to generate the candidate item set, which is of size K. Okay, because from the frequent candidate one item set, we'll be generating the frequent one item set. So we are passing three parameter, that is transactions, and K, it is the size of the item set, and what is the minimum support threshold that we are going to consider. Okay, that we are going to give it as an input, the list of transaction, and which is the list of set that we have created from the input data set. And K is the size of the item set. Okay, so that is candidate one item set or two item set or three item set. So, and minimum support is what is the threshold that we are going to consider for an items to be a frequent. And once every computation is done, we are able to return a dictionary. Okay, we are going to create all the frequent item set and we are going to store it in the form of a dictionary. So we are going to initialize item underscore counts, okay, and which is it, and we are going to initialize an empty dictionary in order to store the count. Okay, so the number of times an items are appearing in the transaction. And the next is like we have to generate all possible item set. Okay, so that is like candidate one item set, candidate two item set. Okay, so for every possible subsets, we have to generate what is the count, okay, what is the frequency of occurrence. So for that, we are going to iterate over the transaction and iterate over each item set in the combination. Okay, so finally, what we are going to do is like we are going to convert the tuple. Okay, so here frozen set of item set. This is mainly it is used to convert the tuple into frozen set. So set is like by default, this is a specialized data structure which is immutable because once the count is generated, it should not getting updated. There should not be any changes. So for that, every time and you are able to see that particular item which is appearing in the transaction, and we are going to increment the count of the item set. So this is how, according to the theory, whatever you have learned, you'll be learning about the candidate one item set, two item set, three item set. So here comes the next process, which is the filtering process. So filtering is like, and once you generate the candidate item set, like we'll be finding out the frequent item set. Only those count which is greater than or equal to the minimum support. So for that, we are going to create another dictionary and we are going to initialize an empty dictionary which has the filtered item set. So for using a for loop, we iterate over the item set and the count that are actually stored in the previous dictionary, that is item underscore counts. And using an if condition, we check whether the count is greater than or equal to minimum support. Okay. If this condition that meets the minimum support, then what we are going to do, we need to add that particular count to the new dictionary. What is the new dictionary that we have created? That is filtered underscore item set. So we are able to generate the frequent item set and all those whose count is greater than the minimum support. First, we generated the candidate. From the candidate, with the help of the minimum support threshold, we were able to generate the frequent item set. So finally, what we are going to do is like we are going to generate the rules. Okay, so for that, what are all the things that is needed? Like what are all the parameters that is needed? It is again the list of sets, the list of transactions that is performed by the user, the minimum support threshold, and the minimum confidence threshold. So finally, the data structure that we are using, we are creating a dictionary in order to store the frequent item set along with their support count, and as well as one list in order to generate the association rules. Because the rule has a format of the antecedent and the consequent, the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the rule. So first is we are going to initialize an empty dictionary to store all the frequent item set. So initially we are going to start with a single item set, therefore k is equal to 1. So like this is a kind of looping that helps us to iterate over the frequent item set. And this process, this iteration stops if no frequent item set is found. Okay, so once the frequent item set is found, we need to stop the process. So for this, we are going to pass on a transaction key minimum support. So if not of item set, okay, so we need to stop if there are no frequent item set is formed. Okay, and with the help of this update function, we are going to store the result to this frequent item set dictionary. Okay, so and k plus equal to 1 to move to the next item set size. And here is where we are going to generate the association rule. Okay, so initially we are going to initialize an empty list to store the association rule and use a for loop to iterate over the dictionary that we have created in the previous step. And then we are considering only those items set with more than one item. So for left in the combination, that is like we are going to like for each and every subsets that are generated, it has the left hand side and the right hand side. So what we have to do is like we have to generate the possible subset. If there are candidate three items set, so what are all the possible? Say for example, if ABC is the frequent item set that is generated, then what are all the possible subset is A separate, B separate, and C, and AB, BC, and AC. So this is how we'll be generating the possible subset. So once you have found out the possible subset, then according to the formula of the confidence, that is, compute the confidences, the support count of both left hand side and right hand side, divided by the support count of the left hand side. Okay, um, and here there is a formula according to this algorithm. Is how do you generate the possible subsets? Okay, so subsets are generated. Subsets is equal to the item set minus the subset. So based on that, the rules are generated. Once the rules are generated, we calculate the confidence. So here is the step that is used to calculate the confidence. Confidence, the formula is support of both left hand side and right hand side divided by the support of the left hand side. So left hand side and the right hand side is given by support, which is the union operation. And we check if the confidence is greater than or equal to the minimum confidence. If so, we append to the list whatever we have created. So after that, we return the frequent item set and the rules. So here is where we load the file, okay, and we are giving the initial value. The support is 2 and the confidence is 50%. And here we are actually running the algorithm a priori, and we are passing the transaction, minimum support, and the minimum confidence. So here using the display function, we are displaying the frequent item set and as well as the rules that we have generated. So these are all your frequent item set that is generated, and these are all the rules. Here is the association rules that is generated, that's satisfying the condition that is greater than or equal to the confidence that is 0.50. So with that, your implementation of this association rule mining is